So first you have to get an image, right? So you can use Ubuntu or any other. There are other versions as well, like Lubuntu, Kubuntu, and so on. Lubuntu variations. Then you have CentOS and things like that. I think all of them should have the live boot feature. Right. So I'm just showing you how to do the Ubuntu live boot, right? So you have to have some kind of image or CD. Uh, Previously, some years back, you can, even get the CD or DVD from Ubuntu, right? You can go to the site and order, and they will send you the CD or DVD for free, right? But now that is not there. That option is not there, right? Nowadays, CDs, DVDs are, um, not that use much, right? We have, flash drives, since they are much faster, and you can download always the image and write to a DVD or CD. So they don't have that option. So here, this page you can download. This is the desktop version. So you click download, then you will download the ISO file, right? Or if you want the server version, yeah, okay. So here server is there. Um, okay, you have to go to the manual server installation. Here you have Ubuntu server version. So this server version is a text version, right? Yeah, you don't get the graphical, right? GUI. It's text mode. It's very lightweight also, right? You can install it very quickly because the graphical is not installed in this, right? So I think the image size is also small. So even the server version, after installing, right? So you don't get a graphical, but you can later on install the graphical to the server as well. No issue, right? You can use the if you have used Ubuntu, apt-get is the command you have to use. Apt-get install, then you can install the GUI by typing apt-get install desktop. I think no, Ubuntu desktop, I think. Okay. So that is also possible. So get one of these, download one of these ISO files, right? Um, I think it should be 1 GB, 2 GB, something like that, the size, right? So you can maybe download from your nighttime data, right? If you can. So then leave some for the peak hours, right? So you can download off peak, right? So download one of these images, and then so I told you about this software before. It's called Rufus. So this is used to create bootable pen drives. So Windows, Linux, anything, almost anything you can create from this tool, right? When you open the tool, yeah, you can select what is the OS. Let's see if I have that tool with me. Okay, I will show you the tool. There is a portable version also, which you don't have to install, right? You can just run as it is. Okay, here is the tool. I just double click the portable version, right? The other version you can install. It's just a small program, right? It doesn't take that much time. First, you have to select the device. So I currently don't have a pen drive plugged in, so it's not showing anything, right? So when you plug in your pen drive, it will show in this device list at the top here. Okay, then you have to select whether it's actual CD, DVD, or ISO image, right? Or you have some other options also. So this would be the option you have to use, right? Since we are using a ISO image, right? Then when you select, you can select your ISO file there, right? Okay. Yeah. Then yeah, there are some advanced versions also, advanced features also. Um, let's see if I have a ISO to show you. Okay, so I have downloaded the two ISO files, server version and the desktop version, right? So server version is 1.1 gigabyte and the desktop version is 2.8 gigabytes, right? Right, close to 3. Right. So this, if you want to write it to a, you can't write it to a CD because the size is large. You have to write it to a DVD. So earlier Ubuntu versions actually you were able to write to a CD, but now they have become larger, right? So you have to use a DVD. Either you can use a DVD to there are ISO tools available, or directly you can from Windows 10 you can write it to the DVD. Right? I think just right click the ISO and yeah, burn disk image. That will burn to the DVD, right? Okay, so here I will select my ISO file. So since I don't have a flash drive, okay, the other options will not be there. So if I selected a device here, then I can select these options, and the label I can give anything to the flash drive, right? And then yeah, this is formatting. So the pen drive, if you are writing to a pen drive, it will format, right? So make sure you back up your pen drive before using it for this tool. You have to have at least I think 4 GB pen drive, right, to make it bootable. The server version is 1.1, so maybe 2 GB is enough, but uh, yeah, for the desktop version, you definitely need a 4 GB, right? So anyway, you have to clear your pen drive, right? So this will format the pen drive and then copy the files and then make it a bootable pen drive, right? So then you just restart your computer and then you can boot from your pen drive. Okay, so this is the tool, right? So it's very small tool, and it will give you a progress, and then after it's done, yeah, it will show that it's complete, right? So then you can use. I think using a pen drive is faster. You can create faster, and yeah, if you have DVD, you can create a DVD. But I think pen drive is faster, so it's better if you use a pen drive for this, right? Okay, so then after that, you just boot. So even in a virtual machine also, you can include that and boot, right, live. Okay, so let me close this. So let me show you how to do it in the virtual box. Okay, so I create a new virtual machine. Then I can select the version. So I'm not adding a virtual hard disk here. Yeah, so there are some advanced options also, like this. If you use this shared clipboard feature, right? It's the current configuration is disabled, so you can either use host to guest or guest to host. So guest is your virtual machine and host is this one, right? The real one. So if you, there's a bidirectional one also. If you enable this, then whatever you copy, right? So it will go to the clipboard. That clipboard, when you have opened the virtual machine, right? When you copy something there, you can paste in a real Windows operating system, or if you copy something in Windows, then that you can paste. And then there are some other options also. Encryption is also there. Try all the options. you know it will expand your knowledge, right? Okay, until this boots. Okay, uh, tell me, what is the command used to create a folder?
mkdir.
Okay. um, right, what is the command used to change the permissions of a file or folder?
chmod.
Right. Okay. What is the command used to change the group permission of a file or folder?
Change mode. Oh, change on.
No, there's a command called change group, chgrp, that is to change the group permission. So chmod is to change actually file or folder permissions, right? So that will be the read, write, execute, right? That permission. So I think you remember that there were three types of permissions in any file or folder, right? You have the owner permission, you have the group permission, and then you have the other permission, right? So those three you have RWX, that is read, write, execute. So all three of those groups have that RW execute permission. Then you have some separate permissions. One is ownership of a file or folder. Then you have the group permission of a file or folder, right? Then you have yeah, those are the ones, right? So you can change permissions of a file or folder, that is permissions. Then you can change the ownership of a file or folder. Then you can change the group ownership of a file or folder. So those are the three things which are there, right? So three commands. Chmod is to change permissions. Chown is to change the ownership of a file or folder. Then you have the group, right? Change the group ownership of a file or folder. So chown, you give specific person or user the ownership of a file or folder. Then if you want to give, for a group, then you use the group permission command, right? Ch group. Okay, so now we are right. So select the language. So at the top you can see it's right. Given welcome is given in like 5 languages, I think. Okay, so let's select English. Okay, then it's asking for the keyboard layout. So yeah, it has automatically detected as English, right? So yeah, so done is selected at the bottom. I just press enter. Okay, this is talking about the network. I will just okay, proxy. I just click done. Right. So this is this ak.archive is actually there for older Ubuntu versions, right? So it's automatically there. I don't have to do anything. Just I have to just click yes, yes, and so on, right? Okay, I will check done. Yeah, so it's saying no disks were found, so installation cannot be done. Yeah, so I did not create a virtual hard disk. So there's no hard disk actually in this virtual machine. Okay, so Unix commands. Right. So this Linux, it started from Unix, and now it's been changed to Linux. It's almost the same, right? The commands, but some things are different. So what is a command? So yeah, that is what we type, right? Like cd, mkdir, rmdir. Those are commands, right? So when we give that command, it will do something. The computer will do something, right? So rather than we cannot say okay, create a folder, things like that. We have to give a command, right? We have to know what command to use. Otherwise, we cannot do it, right? So that is how the computer works, right? So there are predefined commands for various tasks like creating a folder, changing a folder, that is changing the currently listing folder, then listing folder contents, listing the current folder that we are in, right? Clear the screen, various commands. So it's actually a program which talks with the kernel operating system, right? And then does the things which are told or called by the user, right? So when we say mkdir some name, then the operating system or kernel will create a file or folder in that current directory, right? So it will do that task. So if we type rmdir, it will delete. Okay, so actually these are the commands or programs which are available in the operating system, right? So for every command, there's a program available there, right? Okay, so command can be built-in shell command or executable shell file, right? So this copy, cd, mkdir, those are actually built-in commands, right? Built-in shell commands. So you don't actually have a separate program for that. It's in the kernel itself, right? So those are built-in commands. If you install any program or anything, so then there will be separate programs or files which you can run and execute. Okay, command can be built-in shell command, executable shell file known as shell script, or source compile object code file. Yeah, so there are things also called shell scripts where it's like a script. If you know what that means in Windows, it's a collection of commands, right? We can say now let's say cd some directory, that is one command, right? Then we type mkdir folder name, that is another command. So those are two commands. So if we type in the command prompt, we have to type each command separately. But we can have two or three of those commands together right? In a script file, right? It's like a text file. So we can collect like 2 or 3 of those commands in one file, and then if we run the file, all those commands available will be executed in the order which is there, right? So then we don't have to type each command separately, right? We just have to type the name of the script, and the kernel will automatically read the commands inside the script and run in the correct order, right, top to bottom. So it's like this. So we can have several commands available. So rather than typing separate commands, so if we put these 2 commands in the script file, just run the script file and it will automatically execute these 2 commands in the order, right? So first it executes the top one, then the next one which is below, and the next one like that, right? So that is a script file. So you can have a script file with a collection of commands like this. There can be there are viruses with these script files as well, right? So yeah, if you have had a look at that one of those in a virus, right? The script file, you can sometimes if the antivirus program does not clean it or delete it, you can open and see, right? So there is code to, there are various types of virus, right, in Windows, like flash drive to hide all the files, and then create shortcuts. So in so those viruses are they have put like in a very basic way, like in a batch file or script file. So it contains commands like this, right? So maybe delete something, or there are viruses where it creates a lot of files or folders in one folder or many folders. There's a virus which creates a lot of files in your desktop, right? So it's like a, so they have put like a small script file or something, to keep on creating files or folders continuously in a loop. So what will happen if your desktop gets filled with files or folders?
Desktop folder is filled and Genius is stuck.
Yeah, when the desktop is getting filled up, then your computer will get stuck, right? Why? Because Windows is actually showing your desktop folder as your desktop as a graphical way, right? The wallpaper and everything. So the more icons or files you have in your desktop, the more processing Windows will have to do to show it in your desktop, right? So if there are a lot of files in your desktop, then your computer will be slow, right? Too many files and definitely it will get stuck, right? So because that virus, it's just a like a script file running in a loop, right? So so loop means it's very fast, like maybe in a 1 minute or 2 minutes, uh, your desktop will get full and then get stuck, right? then you cannot boot also. Why? Because when you are booting into Windows, you always get the desktop with the Windows, right? So if there are too many files, uh, when you boot it, you don't get the icons, or it will get stuck there, right? Because Windows will not be able to display your desktop due to the huge number of files. So even if you restart, it will be the same thing, right? Yeah, so there are certain viruses where it's very difficult to recover, right? And there are viruses where the CPU usage will go full. So some task will be running, and the CPU usage is full, and the machine will get stuck. Uh, and it's very difficult to, you can't even end that virus, because to get the task manager also it's difficult, because CPU usage is full, right? CPU is busy. So like that, you get lots of viruses of many types. Okay, so yeah, the most popular one in pen drives is the virus will create a autorun file, right? And then that autorun, through that autorun, it will run the virus whenever you plug in your pen drive to any computer, right? So that is the easiest way to infect through pen drives. So actually, there is a simple way to prevent that kind of virus. It's difficult to even if we clean our pen drive, if you go to a print shop or communication, definitely there will be a lot of viruses. Some of the communications nowadays have antivirus software, but not all of them have, right? So you have to uh, so usually when I go to a print shop, I keep a separate small some flash drive for that purpose, right? Because if I use my regular flash drive, then definitely it will be filled of viruses, and then whatever the files, it might damage also. So I am keeping a separate one for that purpose. So anyway, the autorun, the easiest thing you can do is you can create a autorun file. So it's autorun dot, that file name is autorun.inf, right? So this is the file. Usually viruses use this to automatically run something, the virus, right? And then most probably infect the other computers, right? So if you don't have uh, this virus currently in your file, when you plug into a computer which has the virus, it will write this autorun inf to your flash drive with the virus, right? So when you plug into a computer which is not infected, so when you plug in the flash drive, it will automatically read this file and then run the virus and infect that computer also. So the best way to do is you can create a file by this name, right, in your flash drive, and then you can create this file and then maybe make it read only or hide it. You can keep it like that, right? So when the virus tries to create the file, since it's already there, it will not be able to write the file, right? And when you have put read only and so on, it cannot replace also, right? It cannot replace this file because it's read only. So you can do a simple thing like that. Uh, but there are also viruses which detect if there is already a autorun file in your flash drive, right? And then even if you put read only and hide it, so by using commands you can remove the read only and that hidden attribute, right? So that is possible. So there are some viruses which actually check whether the file is there, and then if it is read only, it will remove read only. If it is hidden, then it will unhide, right? And then put the autorun file of the virus. So doing this will not be helpful for all viruses, but a lot of viruses you can prevent. Another method you can do is you can create a folder with the same name, right? If you create a folder with this name, you cannot create a file with the same name, right? So that option is also there. So it will make sure, when you plug in some computer that, your, so without this auto run, the virus cannot run automatically, right? So if you can prevent this, then, even if the virus is there, it cannot run automatically, right? So this is a simple solution that I use,
So
right?
again, මේ ඔටෝරන් ෆයිල් එකක් දාපු හදන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ වෛරස් එක වගේ ෆයිල් එකක් හදන්න ඕනේ.
නෑ, auto run file එක හදන්න ඕන. virus එකට වැඩක් නෑ. virus එකට මුකුත් run automatically run කරන්න බෑ මේ file එක නැතුව. right? This file
දැන් අර මේ read only වගේ මේ එකක් ආවොත් එහෙම එතකොට ඔටෝරන් මේ ෆයිල් එකත් මේ ආපහු රයිට් කරන්න බෑ නේද?
ඒ උනට read only එක අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම virus තියෙනවා.
මර ස්කෑන් මං ළඟ තියෙන ස්කෑන් ඩිස්ක් කියලා මේ පෙන් ඩ්‍රයිව් එකක්. ඒකට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා read only එක. ඊට පස්සේ මම බැලුවා මේ මගේ නෙමෙයි පෙන් එක වෙන යාළුවෙක්ගේ. ඊට පස්සේ මම බැලුවට පස්සේ තියෙනවා ඒකේ මේ ඔටෝරන් ෆයිල් එකටම ඔටෝරන් ෆයිල් එකේ ලියලා තියෙනවා වෙන මේ exe ෆයිල් එකක් මේ රන් වෙනවා. oshell.txt එන ෆයිල් එකක් රන් වෙනවා. ඒකෙන් මේ හැම වෙලේම read only වැටෙනවා. මම මැෂින් එකෙන් try කරා මේ read only එක අයින් කරන්න. අර එතන වැටෙනවානේ status දෙකක් temporary. එතකොට ඒ දෙකේම පළේ මේ read only එක අයින් කරාට ආයෙ පාරක් current මේ current state එක වැටෙනවා read only කියලා.
ඒ කියන්නේ virus එක read only එක අය දානවා.
ඔව්. ඒක automaticallyම දානවා. මම බැලුවා autorun file එකත් මේ බැලුවා අයින් මේ modify කරන්න ඒ දුන්නෙත් නෑ. ඊට පස්සේ ඉබ්බා ආයෙ පාර try කරන්න එක. ඒ වුණාතර folder එකක් ආපහු create කරනවා කියුවේ චුට්ටක් ආයෙ කියන්න උස්ස පොඩ්ඩක්.
Oh, you can create a folder with the same name. autorun.inf. Create a folder with the same name, right? If you have a folder with that name, just try and see. If you have a folder, you cannot create a file with the same name in Windows, right? You cannot create autorun.inf file if there is already a folder by the same name. So I think because it's a folder, sometimes the virus might not properly detect that, right? Because it's not a file, it's always looking for a file. So that option might work. So you can create a folder and just hide it, right? So whenever you try to create a file with the same name, it will say already existing folder. There will be an error, right? So you cannot create a file when there is already a folder. So, and the commands for changing the attributes or whatever in a folder will be a bit different from a file. So a lot of viruses might not check if that is a folder, right? So that option is also possible. So so these all these so these are like scripts, right? This autorun inf is inf is also a script file. So that file is there to it's there in CDs, DVDs also. This autorun file. It's there to when you plug in some DVD or put in a DVD or CD, or when you plug in a flash drive, this autorun, what is inside the autorun will happen, right? It contains some parameters. So according to that, a virus or program can run. If you have used earlier, this DVD drives, maybe let's say there is a certain one software, right? Let's say maybe virus guard, Symantec antivirus or something, right? So you may have noticed when you insert the DVD, it will automatically open the setup. So how, or maybe let's say Office CD, right? So I'm not talking about DVDs which have a lot of software, right? So those DVDs usually don't have this auto run file. So it's there in specific software, maybe let's say Photoshop or one software in a DVD or CD. So when you insert the DVD or CD, how the setup automatically comes is it has a auto run file, right? So inside the auto run file, it's mentioned which program it should automatically run, right? So that is done by Windows, but what program to run is given in this file, right? So that is how the software automatically opens when you put a DVD or CD, right? The computer will read this auto run INF, and then it will run the exe or program given in this file, right? So that is how it happens. So in flash drives also the same. So people who write viruses have used this method to spread the viruses as well. Okay, there is a safe way in any Windows computer, right? When you plug in a flash drive or CD, DVD, okay, when you are, whenever you are, the moment you are putting a DVD in or plug in the flash drive, just keep pressing the shift key and it will disable the auto run, right? That is a temporary thing that you can do. So this auto run you can disable in the Windows settings also, but if you are using someone else's computer, you are plugging a flash drive or DVD, so the easiest way to skip this auto run is you can press the shift key. Just keep pressing for maybe a few seconds, right? Let's say 15 or 30 seconds. I think that should be enough. It doesn't need to be that much, but when you insert usually a DVD or CD, it takes time to read the DVD or CD, right? So you have to keep pressing the shift key until it has finished reading the CD or DVD. And the flash drive also the same. That will be much quicker than a CD or DVD. So by holding the shift key, you can stop this auto run, right? That function is there. Okay, so okay, the shell is a command line interpreter. User interacts with the kernel through the shell. So shell is like a command prompt, right? So that contains built-in commands like copy, move, create directory, remove directory, whatever. Yeah, so you can write scripts to act upon the shell. So you can write these scripts, like I said, with a lot of a collection of commands. That is called a script. So let's say you need to create a set of folders, right? Let's say you need to create in the current folder, you need to create, let's say maybe 20 folders. So their name should be 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 20, right? So rather than manually creating one by one and renaming 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, so you can use a script file, right? And then you can put the commands there, right? mkdir 1, 2 like that. So then when you run the script file, all those whatever the folders will be automatically created, and you don't have to manually type everything. You can maybe even use a loop also to, let's say numbers 1 to 20, right? You can put a loop uh, so that you can then use a few lines of code, right? You don't have to type in the script also, make a dir 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. If you are using a loop, right? So there is a syntax to this script also, right? How you should write the commands and all that. So they are also available. You can just search and see, right? And then you have a batch file or script file ready. When you run it, whatever the commands inside will execute and happen uh, quickly, right? Immediately. It doesn't take much time. Then you have compiled or object code, that is Java or C, Sharp or those things, right? Because in Java also you compile and then you run the file code, right? Object code. You have the object file as well. So in other languages also, you write the source code, then you compile the project, then you create the executable file, right? So those are the things which are there in Linux also. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so the shell, yeah, so shell is actually a separate thing in the operating system. So it's there between you and the operating system, right? So the shell has some commands, right? So you type the commands in the shell, and those commands are given to the operating system to do the various tasks, right? Like changing the folder, or creating a folder, creating a file, whatever. Okay, so the this shell, it will take your input from the keyboard, and then it will convert it to commands which can be done by the operating system, right? Okay, so when you log into the system, you are given a default shell, right? So yeah, even in the graphical mode, let's say Ubuntu, yeah, if you are going to graphical, you don't get a shell, but if you are going to the text mode, uh, you are taken to the shell or the command prompt, right? Right. So when the shell starts up, it reads its startup files and may set. Yeah. So when the system boots, it will read the startup files, and then it will set the environment variables. So there are some variables which are set in Linux, right? Then paths. I think I showed you this earlier. So in Windows also you have this environment variables and path, right? Yeah, then command alias and so on. Let's see if I can show you this again. Okay, so these are some environment variables in Windows, right? You have all users profile, app data, common program, then we have computer name, yeah, home drive, home path, right? Then yeah. So what is the OS? Then you have this path variable also, right? This contains the various paths here, which programs are installed or software, right? For example, now I have installed SSH, and so the SSH path is here, right? So any exe files inside this, if I directly type the name of those exe files in the run box, right? It will automatically open because the path is here in this path variable, right? If this path is not there, when I type a name of a program, right, or exe file, it will not automatically open in the run, right? If the path is not here, then if you want to run a program or exe file, you have to type the whole path in the run box like this, right? So, like, let's say a word program. So I think the path is somewhere here. So if I type winword in the run box, it will automatically open Word program, right? If I type Excel, it will automatically open Excel program. So that is because the path to that Office folder is here, right? So when you type a name, the name of a exe file, Windows will automatically search if it's there in the path variable, right? So if the path is there in the path, it will check all these paths, which is given here, separated by semicolons, as you can see. So it will check all these paths to check whether that exe file is there in one of these paths given, right? If it is there, then it will run the program, right? If that path is not here given in the path variable, environment variable, right, then it will not run the program. It will say it cannot find the program, right? So when you type like in the run box cmd, it will open this command prompt. How is that happening? This C Windows System 32, that path is, yeah, here you can see it's there in the path, right? So that is why when you type cmd, it will automatically open because the path to cmd is given in this path variable, right? If you like type, if you have installed Java, then if you have put the Java path here, when you type Java, it will run the program, right? Otherwise, it will say cannot find the program. It will say, right, if the path is not there. So when you upgrade Java, sometimes if you don't correct the path, right, the path will change when you update Java because of the version, right? It will change. So if you do not correct the path, then Java will not work. When you just type Java, it will say cannot be found. So yeah, let me clear the screen. Now see when I type, right, this is the, I think I don't have Java installed. So this is what I get if the path, yeah, either the program is not installed or it's not in the path, right? So yeah, if I type something like this, okay, so it's not there in the path then. Yeah, if I type cmd, will open another window, right? Yeah, it opened another command, right? So you see, that is how this works. So in Linux also, there's this path variable is there, environment variable, right? So for any program that you want to run directly without typing the path, it should be there. So I think I have Python. Yeah, so Python path It was here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Right. So as long as you have the path here, just type in the name of the command will work. If it is not there in the path, it will not work, right? Okay, wait. Right. So those are the environment variables. And then command search path is the path variable. Command alias. Okay, I will show you what is alias. It's like this. Yeah, now this is a variable. This is an alias, right? So the value is C users public, this path, right? If I type here cd, so there is a way to type this or get the values of these variables, right? So public, so I cannot type as it is. I have to type like this. Right now, did you see it? It changed to that directory, right? So if I want to change to C Windows, I can type this. That is the alias, or can call that as a variable or something, right? In programming. So if I type cd, I have to use percentage mark to expand that variable or alias, right? If I just type without, it won't work, right? Right. So C Windows, that is the value here, right? So these are, you can call alias, command alias, or right. C Windows, there's another one also, WinDir. So if I type cd WinDir, okay. So you know why these are there? Let's say you have installed Windows in the E drive, right? So let's say you install a software, right? And it needs to write to the Windows folder. So now if it tries to write in C Windows, that will not work because we have installed in E drive. So there is no C Windows but E Windows, right? Now when the operating system is installed in the E drive, this variable will have the value as like this. Those are automatically created, right? We don't have to type those. The value will be like this. So directly if we are accessing this variable or alias, we can go to the correct path, right? So like that. System drive here, it's so I have installed my C drive, but if you have installed it in another drive, D or E or F, whatever, then that will be there, right? So by accessing this variable, you can get the correct path. Okay, those things, even you can try on your computer or laptop, right? Yeah, some may require, no, that doesn't require admin. Yeah, to change those value, you might have to have an admin account, but I think you should be able to view those values. Okay, so yeah, execute any command specified in these files. Yeah, so if there are startup script files, there may be commands given in the script file which runs up at startup, right? Okay, so the original shell was a Bourne shell, sh. Yeah, so every Unix platform will have a Bourne shell or something other. So default prompt for the Bourne shell is $, right, or hash for the root user, right? So this is what you get in Ubuntu also, right? Another one is the C shell. So default prompt for C shell will be the %mark, right? So this shell is a command line interpreter with inbuilt commands, like we typed earlier, like cd, mkdir, rmdir, right? Those are inbuilt commands. You don't have to install those commands. Right. So there are other shells available. So they will be either sh or C shell, right? Yeah. So you can do various things um in those shells, right? Yeah. So there are other like corn shell, born again shell, bash. You must have heard of bash. That is from Free Software Foundation GNU project. Right. So you can write shell programs by writing shell scripts. So scripts, like I told you, it contains more than one command in them, right? So, uh, so okay. So this is shell programming, right? So how we start a shell script is like this: first hash sign and the exclamation mark, right? So which indicates that the script is directly executable. So the shell script file will start with this. Okay, then you immediately follow this with the name of the shell or the program. Yeah. Then you put the name of the shell program, right? Yes. So if it is in Bourne shell script, it will be the first line will be like this, right? Hash exclamation then bin sh. That is the path to the shell, right? Right. So then we create. So this is a shell script file. So created using the VI editor. This is how you run the shell script, right? Dot and then slash, then the name of the shell script file. So there are no exes in Linux, as you know, right? So there are binaries, and these shell files. This is the way to run it, right? Dot slash, then the name of the shell script file. Right. So the first line will be like this: uh, hash exclamation, then what is the shell. Then you get the commands, right, of the shell. Yeah, within the script, hash indicates the comment from that point until the end of line, with this being a special case. Yeah, so anything in the shell script that starts with this hash, right, except for the first line, all the other lines, this will indicate a comment. So if you have done programming, you know that you can put comments to every line. So what is the purpose of this command? What is the purpose of this? You can put a comment. right? So that when anyone reads, they can understand easily. Right, and you also need to specify that the script is executable. Right. So do you remember that executable permission we changed in chmod, right? RWX, read, write, and execute. That execute permission should be there enabled, for you to run the script. So let's say now you are running a shell script in your own folder, right? And you are the owner or ownership. Ownership is yours, right? So then most probably you will have that execute permission because you are the owner and you should be able to run it. So another person might not be able to run this. Let's say someone in the which has group permission, right? If group permission execute is not there, so it's like this. So let's say you have the full permission, right? But the group doesn't have, and definitely other permission also not there. If this is the case, people with group permission cannot run the script file because execute is not given, right? So any other apart from the group or apart from you cannot also write or run the script because permission is not there, right? So if you type like this, chmod plus x, in the name of the file, then if you didn't have permission before, like if the permission was like this, let's say, so even you, the owner, does not have permission, right? When you type chmod plus x, this will, so it will change to the above one, right? The executable will be added. So plus x means executable will be added. If you type like minus x, then the executable permission will be removed, right? So this is also another way of writing this command. So this is how to run the shell script. Dot slash, then the name of the script. Yeah, let me see if my okay, actually I cannot run it without the disk. Okay, give me a minute until I boot this up.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so any questions from what I told you so far?
සර් RWX කියන එක ආය පාරක් එක්ස්ප්ලේන් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද අර මේ ඕනගේ X එක එන්නේ ඇයි කියලා
හරි x එක එන්නේ executable permission වලට.
ඒක නිසා දැන් එක්සිකියුටබල් කියන අපි දැන් අර මේ මොනවා හරි ඔය software එකක් install කරනකොට වගේ ඒන මේ setup file එකක් execute කරන එකද එහෙම නැත්නම් folder එකක් open කරනවා වගේ එකක්ද
නෑ, executable කියන්නේ මම දැන් කියපු එක. මොකක් හරි run කරනකොට executable permission ඕන. ඒ කියන්නේ shell script එකක් හරි program එකක් හරි run කරන්න executable permission ඕනේ. read write permission තියෙන්නේ read කියන්නේ නිකන් program එක read කරන්න මොනවා හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ file එකක් text file එකක් හරි මොනවා හරි කියලා කියමු. write කියන්නේ file එකට write කරන්න, save කරන්න. executable කියන්නේ executable files තියෙනවා shell script and binary files. එතකොට exe files කියලා දෙයක් නැහැ, binary files කියලා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒව execute කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ execute කරන්න අපිට ඒ execute permission එක තියෙන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් අපිට execute කරන්න බෑ. Either binary files or shell script files. So if you want to run those files, definitely we should have that executable permission. If you want to, let's say, run setup, right? Maybe a driver, let's say, maybe NVIDIA drivers, something. So we don't have exes in Linux. We have binary files, right? So to install those, right? So those are actually installation files, not exe, but Linux compatible installation files, right? So when you run them, if you don't have the executable permission for that file, you will not be able to install, right? So these things you should try and see. Let's write a small shell program, and then you will understand. So you have to have that execute permission in that file to run that file, right? Whether it's a shell script or installation program. Windows, in Windows also there is a separate permission for that. Let me show you. So let me find, okay, any file is okay. Okay, so this is the, I right clicked and so this is properties of a exe file, right? This is the VirtualBox setup. So if you go to the security tab, so this might, I think this is not there in the Windows Home version, right? So you only get this in the professional and above version. So here you can see set of permissions. At the bottom you can see here full control, modify, read, execute, read, write. If I go to advanced, then say I take the permission of administrator. Okay, so basically basic permissions are like this. If you give full control, that means all permissions will be there. If you give modify, then a little bit less. Read and execute, then a little bit less. You cannot modify, only read and execute. See here also the execute permission is there in Windows, right? Then we have the read write. So let's go to the advanced, right? These are the permissions in an advanced level, right? So you can see, right? So we have this take ownership change permission that is actually coming under the full control, right? If you give full control, then anyone, sorry, this, okay, so I'm taking administrators, but if you are, uh, yeah, if you take, the normal user permission, can you see? It's very limited. Only read and execute. There is no write permission given to the users, right? So if the account is a normal user account, the user normally only has read permission only when execute, right? So the normal user has read and execute and read permission. If you go to the advanced permission, these are the permissions which the user has. Read permissions is there. That means you can read that file, right? You can read the name and the contents, whatever, right? That, then read attributes. Read attributes means you can know whether the file is read only or uh, hidden or whatever, right? Those are the attributes of a file, right? Maybe the size and things like that. Then extended attributes are security. You can check what is the security which is there in the file, right? uh, what are the permissions given to a file, and then advanced attributes given to the file. Those you can read. If you remove this permission, then you will not be able to see what are the permissions given and so on, right? Then you have this list folder read data. So if this is a folder, so this is actually a file, then the read data will be applied, right? If this is a folder, then the list folder permission will apply. So list folder means you can see the contents inside the folder. If you remove this, you can see the folder from outside, but you cannot go inside and view what are the contents, right? So this is that permission. Then we have the traverse folder or execute file. So traverse means double clicking and going inside the folder, and you can in subfolders you can click and go inside, then double click the subfolder and go inside like that. So and if it is given to a user, then it will be executing the file. Executing means opening the file or running. For let's say exe file, to run the exe file you need this permission. So in Linux also the same. If you remove this permission, then you cannot run the program, right, or file. So these are the similar commands in Windows and Linux also the same type, right? This execute, you can see the permission is given here. In Linux also execute permission is uh, used for binary files, shell files, and so on. So to run a file, right, maybe a setup, maybe shell script, maybe application, you need the execute permission. Without that, you cannot do it. So is that clear about the executable permission? I hope that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, let me see whether my
සර් මේ මොඩියුල් එකේ Windows server එහෙමත් කරන්න වෙනවද?
oh, Windows Server තියෙනවා. Group policies, එතකොට Active Directory ටික තියෙනවා. Okay, I am still unable to get. Okay, so if you are using the server ISO version, if you don't have a hard disk, then you're gonna have a problem. It will not boot, right? The live also it will not boot. So you have to go for the desktop version. Okay, so until my VM comes up. Right, so this is the basic structure of the commands, right? You type the name of the command and then you give the options, then you give the arguments. So options means like if it is let's say ls. So let me type here. ls is the command. Then the options is you can give a directory here, right? Let's say you're now in this directory, right? So you want to list in another directory. So yeah, you can type like this. So that is the option, right? So ls, if I type like this, it will show the contents of the bin folder. Then what are the arguments of the command? That means the parameters, what you can, so minus L. So ls minus L, that will show you in a different way. So if you are listing the current folder, you can just type ls. You don't have to type any options, and then give the arguments, right? Minus L, or there are various other parameters or arguments which you can use to change the output of the ls command, right? If you want, you can check the attributes and so on. Like in Windows also, that same thing is there, right? I think I showed you in Windows. If I type this dir, so these are the arguments, right? Or options. Right? If I type, okay, I'm changing to the Windows directory. Now here I type attribute, list me the files with the hidden and system attribute. So these are the two folders which has the hidden plus system attribute. If I want to check only the hidden, these are the ones with the hidden attribute and hidden only. Then this is system only. So in Linux, it's the same. Here also, I can dir c users. No, let's say I want to view the C drive. So it will show me the C drive. I'm in the Windows folder, but I want to list somewhere else. So that is the option. Then the argument will be, I cannot remember. Uses their format /b. Okay. So dirc. If I type this, see the output is changed, right? Only the file names will be shown. If I don't use this argument, all the full details will be shown, right? So that is command, then options, then arguments, right? Right. So multiple commands can be separated by semicolon. Yeah. So if you want to type 2 or 3 commands, you can separate those commands by a semicolon. So let me see if my VM is running. Okay, now it seems to be running. So let's try some of these commands. Okay, give me a minute. My system has become slow. Yeah, so even if you have, so I have 8 GB RAM, but still it seems. Okay, I'm having some trouble logging in. Okay, okay. So I have told you this earlier. Like in Windows, Linux also, there is a help system for every command. If you don't know any command, just type man and then type the command, right? Okay, let's take a break and then come back in 15 minutes. Right. So you can get the help for any command using the man command. Man is for manual, right? So you type man and then you type the command, then it will give you it will show you the description, right? Okay, then you have some info commands and then listing description of a program. Yeah, and there are some programs which you type the name, program name, then if you type space minus minus help, then it will show you the help options of that specific command, right? So built-in or system-specific commands, you can use the man command, and for other tools which you maybe install. So it's different how you get the help, but either you have to you can type the man command and then the command, or you can type the command then space minus help. So in Windows, you can type any command and then space slash help like this. And so for example, if you want to get help of the copy command, copy space slash then question mark, then you can get the help of. So this way you can get anything, any help in Windows. Right. You know, sometimes using these commands, it's yes.
මේ වොයිස් එක පොඩ්ඩක් මේ ඇහෙනවා මදි වොලියුම් එක පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩි කරලා කියනවා මයික් එක නැත්නම් ඇතද නැති
හරි. දැන් ඇහෙනවද?
දැන් ඇහෙනවා සරිය
හරි. Okay, so right. So any command you can get the help like that. Then okay, no. Okay, now this option, I think this is not there in Windows. You can right this symbol here, this straight line is called the pipe sign, right? So this is used in Linux to a way to pass the output of one tool to the input of another. That means right. So you know the output of one command can be an input to another command, right? So two commands you type in one line, and then so the input to one command is the output of the other command. So like okay, by combining these tools, giving the WC command the output of who. So the output of who, right, is given as input to this second command. Right. So then what happens is this lists the number of users currently in the system. So this is just one example. You can there are various other commands. One command is the grep command. Yeah, here can you see? Find and then grep is to filter the whatever the output, right? So yeah, so this symbol is called the pipe sign. In your keyboard, it's on top of the backslash. It's the same key. You have to press shift and backslash. I think it should be backslash. It might be different on keyboards, but I think it should be over the backslash key. Right? This is called the pipe sign. So you know, in Linux, as you can see, it's very powerful. You know, you can combine two commands and then you can give the output of one command to the other one. Let me show you some examples of this pipe sign. Okay, I have too many windows, I think. Yeah, so here is one example. Cat is used to show the contents of a file, right? So then cat is of sample is piped into less. Yeah, if you type like this, cat, then the file name, then more, it will actually pause to one screen, right? Then you can press enter to go to the next screen. So cat will Yeah, it will show the all the contents of the file actually. It will not pause. Okay, let me turn on my VM. Okay, I'll close some of my windows, otherwise my system is quite slow now. Okay, so that's the pipe sign. Um, right, so these are the commands that we learn, right? Chown to change the ownership of a file. So then you give chown, then you type the name or username of the owner, then the file name or folder, right? Then change grp to change the group. So change the group of a file. So then chgrp, then the group name. These should be created. Then the name of the file or folder. Then to copy a file, so cp file 1 to file 2. Then that is to copy one file to another file. So this is to copy folder. So you use this minus R command, minus not command, sorry, that's the argument. So copy is the command and minus R is the argument. Or yeah, yeah, you can call it argument, right? Okay. So when you are copying folder to another folder, right? So there are files and folders inside the folder. So the copy command, you cannot use the same copy command as it is, because it's used to usually copy a file to another file. So if there are a lot of files, you have to use this minus R option or argument. It means recursive, right? So it will copy everything which is inside this folder to this other folder, right? This command will run recursively, right, in a like a loop, to make sure that all the files and folders in dir1 is copied to dir2. Okay, then ls is to list the contents of a directory. Then so there are options like this. If you type ls then pipe sign more, it will pause to one page, right? If there are a lot of files and folders, it will stop at one page, and when you press enter or pause, it will go to the next page. Enter or spacebar. Okay, mkdir creates the directory. Um, yeah, so mkdir minus p will create all the directories starting from right. So okay, so minus p you use. Now let's say you want to create 3 folders. Sorry, there are 4 folders here. So you want to create ww folder here, and then you want to create cache folder inside that as a subfolder. Then inside that as a subfolder, you want to create var. Then again inside that as log. So instead of creating one folder, change into the that folder, and then creating another folder, and going on like that, in one step you can create all these subfolders by just typing this minus p argument, right? So it will create all the whatever the folder names as given in the path in the correct folder. Like for example, so it will create ww in the current folder, and then it will create this folder inside this ww folder. Then it will create the var folder inside this folder, then the log inside the var folder. If you don't give this, you have to manually create one folder, then change cd to that folder, then again create the next folder, and so like that, right? You have to one by one create these folders if you are not using this minus p. Then the move or the rename, right? So to find files, So you type find and then you give the start for where you want to start the find, and then you give a name. Uh, yeah, the file name, right? So minus name, you can give a file name and then print. So yeah, so here you are giving find and then you are giving the output to grep test. So okay, this command find slash means root, that is the topmost folder, right? So it will find in all the folders available in Linux operating system. That I mean all the root folder, right? So then that all that output will not be put to the display. It will only filter ones which has this test, this name, right? Right. So this search starting at the home directory and proceed through all the subdirectories. So it will start at the home and then it will go through all the subfolders and so on. Right. So if you don't put this grep test, what will happen is it will the output, right? It will show all the when it is going through all the subfolders, it will output all the folders, right? If you put grep like this, it will only output to the screen the relevant parts which are related to this test keyword, right? So grep test search for a file name. Yeah, actually it's test, right? Yeah, and this is the pipe sign. So this is combining two commands using the pipe sign. So pwd shows the current working directory. Then rm deletes the files. rmdir, yeah. So rm deletes files. If you put minus rf, right? Minus r is for recursive and f is to force, right? That force argument is there. Usually you cannot delete non-empty directories. That means directories which are not empty you cannot delete, right? It will not allow you. It will give an error saying it's not empty. So then you have to use the force argument, right, to delete those folders which are not empty. So even this rmdir command, so the directory must be empty. So if you give a force option, then it will delete those directories also, right? Okay, this touch, this command can change the timestamp of the file or folder to the current time, right? And so touch, then you give a file name. Touch, if you give a file name. So if that file is already there, it will open the file, or you can change the timestamp. If there is no file by this name, it will create a new file, right? So this is also used to create files. Okay, when you type where is command, you can locate where the binary is, right? The program or the binary file, where is, then you type, let's say you have installed Java, sorry, not where is. So when you type like this, it will search for the binary and then it will show where it is, right? The path. So this is how you type that command. Yeah, which shows the full path of the commands. So which, then you give a command, then it shows the full path of where the commands are. here where is used to locate the binary files, right? Usually binary files are in the slash bin folder in Linux, right? Okay, so let me see if my VM is now come up. So you see a dollar sign at the prompt here. That means it's the Bourne shell, right? So this man, yeah, it means manual, right? So man, let's say I want to know about the copy command. So it shows all the options available, right? The copy command. Yeah, it has a force option also, which if there's a destination file with the name, if it cannot be opened, then it will delete and try this, right? So like that. Yeah, you press the space bar and then it will go to the next page. So there are a lot of options you can see here, right? So to exit from this, yeah, still there are a lot of options. Okay, now when I press space bar, it won't go any further. So that means that's the end of the help for that command, right? So you type Q, then you quit the man command, right? So I don't think, let's see if, yeah, there's a help option also available for that command. It also shows the almost the same thing, but it did not pause, right? It's so I cannot read the first part. So then I think if I type like this, it should work. I put the pipe sign, then more. No. Right, now I can, so it will pause uh, to one screen, right? So in any command which, it there is a lot of output and it, scrolls up so that you cannot read the first part, you can use this more command with the pipe sign, right? So then you can one by one, screen by screen, you can view the output, right? So ls, yeah. So if I type ls root, yeah, it will show the folder. So these are the folders in the root. So now I'm currently in my home folder. So I can, not, okay. I can check any folder like this. Okay, now you see there's a lot of content in the bin folder. So I can use the more command here, right, to pause the screen. So it will pause one screen at a time like this. So if you want to exit now, without finishing this, it will not stop, right? It will go. So just press Control C. It will cancel the command, right? So where is? So these are the options of where is. So typing minus minus help and man, uh, it's a bit different, right? Here in the man you get a description and all that, right? if you type minus help, yeah, it only shows a little amount of just the options, right? Not a description. So best thing is to use the man command, so you can understand about the commands. So where is, let's say, okay, that's the inbuilt program. I think that will not work. So okay, right. So it's showing where this copy command is. See, it's in the USR bin. Right. So if you have installed any, let's say, maybe lamp, or if you install software, then if you want to know where it is, the location, you can type where it is. Yeah. So this switch also it's a similar output, right? Maybe if you have like two versions of one program, then maybe which will show, I think, the current version which is used. But other than that, it seems the same, like the same output, right? Okay, what about touch? Yeah, so we can change the timestamp of the file, and then also you can create a file also. Now here, let's see. If I type aa.txt, right? If I type ls, right? So you can just create a file without saving anything in the file by using the touch command. So if I type that again, yeah, it will not make any difference. So I can maybe open it. There's nothing in the file, right? Just the empty file created. So let's open, put something and save. Control O to save, then Control X to exit. Uh, you should use these commands and get familiar. So if there's already a file, it will not change or overwrite, right? So what I saved is there. You can see the size of the file is 0. So newly created file will not contain anything. So it will be 0 bytes, right? Until you open and save it. So if you want to create empty files by some name, right? Let's say you have an application or something, and that for that application to write in a file, maybe save settings or something, at least an empty file with the name should be there. Then you can use this command to create the empty file, then when you run the application, it will save in that file. Sometimes, if you have done programming, you know that uh, if you want to save output or settings or configuration, whatever, to a file, so in the application, when you're coding, so you have put code to open the specific file name, right? If that file is not there in the path, it will give an error or exception, we call that, right? And then the program will exit with that error unless we have handled it properly. So if the file name is not there, you cannot open the file name, then it will throw an error, right? So the file should be created, at least empty file, before running the program. Okay, so yeah, so these are some of the commands. Right, we will check this grep command, find, and so find this, and then I think you will not find anything. Test. Okay, so there are yeah, showing all things. Yeah, it highlights the ones with the test. Yeah, so you can see that it actually goes through everything. Okay, now see if I type like this. Right, so since I don't have permission, it stopped. That means I don't have read permission also in this folder. Let's see. Yeah, no, permission is there. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see that lost and found folder, the owner and the group is root, right? So I'm not the root user, right? So if you check the permission, there's only owner permission, right? Read, write, execute. The others are blank. So I don't have any permission to at least read what is inside that folder, right? Only root has permission, root user. So that is why that gave an error. Yeah, so because of that error, it did not continue, right? It stopped. Yeah, so there's nothing here. So, okay, so now you get the picture, right? Yeah, let's try this one. The command separately. Okay, who? This shows the users which are logged in at the moment, right? This command is used to print new line, word, and byte counts for each file. Yeah, it counts the lines. So let's exit this. Okay. So when I type who, there's only one line here. So if I combine, so it will show as one. So the who command, there will be one line for each user who has logged in, right? So by combining these two commands, I can just count without displaying the users. I can just count how many users are there logged in, right? Okay, let's see some other right. shell scripts. Yeah, let's try this. So I will use the nano editor. So the name of my file will be shell script. So first line should have this, sorry, no spaces. Bin bash. Then so I will change directory to temp and then create a folder there, mkdir. Then I save. Right, now let's see. Okay, check the permissions of the shell script file. Now there is no executable permission given for any category, right? Not even for me, owner. Now how do you run this script? Dot slash. You can press the space bar. It will. Okay, it doesn't work. Shell script. Yeah, because I have put the dot slash. Right. So this is how you run the shell script. Now look what happens. Permission denied. Why? Because I don't have execute permission in that file. So I can run the command which is given in the slide, chmod plus x, right? That is to add the executable permission. Then I have to give the file name, shell script. I can just press the tab key and get the name, right? Because I'm currently in the folder. Right. So enter. Now let's see the permission. Now it's showing in green color. So green color it shows files which have executable permission, right? That is usually the way in Linux. If anything is executable, it will be shown in green. Other files also you can put the executable permission, but it will be no use, right? Chmod. See, I gave execute permission to the text file also, but since it's not a script file, that will be of no use, right? We don't need executable permission for a text file. So I can remove it. Right, so you see, I have removed the executable permission from that HH text file. Right. So using that, it will automatically add with, for the owner and group both, right? Executable permission. Oh no, wait. Owner group. Okay, it has put for the other also. Yeah. So owner group other all execute permission will be enabled if you use this chmod plus x, right? Or you can, you know, be specific and give like this. So this is 4, 2, 6, 6, 6, 6 and 4. 6, 6, 4, so 7, 6, 4. So you have to give the number, right? 7, 6, 4. Right. So I gave only permission for the owner, executable permission, right? By using 7 in the first part. The others I have kept as it is. So I can give specific permission like that. Or if I want to give executable permission for all, um, okay, something happened to the window. Give me a minute. Right. So I can give specific permissions in this way, or I can give executable permission to all owner, group, and others by using chmod plus x, right? So that is actually very dangerous because you should not give executable permission to other, right? Owner and group okay, but other, that is very dangerous, especially if this is a server. So yeah, it's better to give a specific permission like this. Or you can put the execute permission, then run the whatever the program or script, then remove it. Then that will be safe, right? Or you can give specific permission this way. So let me revert this back to the way it was. Okay, so I have reverted back to the way it was. So you remember the how to get this number, right? How do you get that number? Can you remember? What is the value for R?
7. Oh,
No, that is the that's the collection or the addition of all three.
111.
R is 4, sir.
Right, correct. W?
W is 2.
Right. Then X?
X is 1.
Right. So it's very easy to remember, right? It's so 1, 2, 4. So if you want to give all three permissions to owner, group, or other, then you add the number, right? So then it will be 7. If you want to give read write only, then 6. If you want to give read and execute, then 5. And then if you want to give write and execute, then it will be 3. So like that. So you type 1 to give only executable permission, then you type 2 to give only write permission, then 4 to give only read permission, like that. So you add up the numbers, then you get the combination, right? So all three will be 7. No permission will be what? If you want to give, like, remove all permission,
Everything is 0.
0, yes. So if you put 0, then that will remove every permission of the owner, group, or other, right? So if you put like 0, 0, 0, that will remove all permission 5, right? Right. So let's clear this. So that you have to remember, so that you can give the permission to those files. So this is when using the command line or commands, right? So in the graphical, you can get the properties and change like we did in Windows. But in the text version, this is how you do it, right? Or you can use the chmod plus X plus W, or plus R or minus R. You can do that, but it will give the permission to every owner group and other. That's the issue, right? You cannot customize. Okay, so now shall we run this script and see? I have given execute permission. So /share script. Right. Now let's see what is inside the temp folder. Okay, what is the right? So our script file is cd. Okay, let me open the script file. So change directory to tmp, then create a directory called t. So that is there, right? See, t is there. Let me give this in a more detailed way. Right, so t is a folder. So yeah, the command has worked. Sorry, the script. So you have to put the cdtmp also. If you don't change the directory, then it will create a folder in the current directory. Let's change that and see. So currently, now I'm in my home folder. So let's so to put comments, you use the hash sign. So I commented that line, right? Save, exit. Now let's run the command. Right, now you see the folder is created here. So you know whenever you run a script file, so the current directory will be where the script file is, right? So if you want to do something elsewhere in some other folder, you have to first cd to that folder, then do whatever, right? Okay, so let's remove that. So it's empty, so you can remove it, no problem. So ls tmp, then if you check t, there's nothing inside t, right? Because we just created the folder. So let's remove that as well. tmp t, no issue. Okay, we deleted it, right? Let's make some changes to this. Okay, so we will create a folder called T, then so we can put a lot of steps like this. So by using the up and down keys, you can get the previous commands you have typed, right? Okay, T is created. Right, now you see that S is also created inside folder T. So that is what I gave in the command, right? I changed to that directory and created that S folder. Okay, now if I try to remove this, it will give an error saying it's not empty. Yeah, okay. So I use the force option to delete the T folder. Now there was a option in mkdir. Okay, so T is created. Tmpt. S is created. Okay, so now can you see I did it in one command. Right. So yeah, if you want to create subfolders and all in one command, so you have to use the -p command, right? It will create all the folders which are given in the path as it is. So I just cd to all those folders, right? So you saw. Yeah, okay. Now just see the -p option, parent. So no error if existing. So if the whatever the folders are already there, then it will not give any error. And if any folders are needed to be created newly, it will be automatically created. Right? Make parent directories as needed. So parent is the directory above. So that is, if we take the M directory, the parent directory will be S. And for the S directory, the parent directory will be T, and subdirectory or child directory will be M. Right? So parent is the one top or up. The child is the one which is inside or subdirectory, the bottom one, right? Okay, so any questions regarding that? So you should try out these commands, right? Try the script file as well. You can put various other commands. So if you are putting like delete commands, rmdir, rm, you have to be careful, right? Otherwise, if you make a mistake, then you might delete the whole thing. Right. So any questions regarding this? We can write a script file like this, right? Okay, multiple commands separated by yeah, okay. Let's check that. mkdir, let's say t, and semicolon. Okay, so because of the cd, it changed to the t directory, right? Yeah, so you can see now I'm in T. So I just type 3 commands in the same line using the dividing by the semicolon. All have been executed, right? Create a new T directory. So T directory is there. Then cd to the T directory, which I'm currently in now. Then create a new directory called S. So you can type multiple commands in the same line by using the semicolon, right? If you are using the pipe sign to write multiple commands, then that will mean you put an input to the second command will be the output of the first command, right? That is where I use the pipe sign. And here you use the semicolon to separate individual commands which do not need to be connected, the input output, right? Right, so this we did man info. Okay, and if you just type cd without anything, it will go to your home folder default, right? Info, yeah. So if you just type info, it will just show some information. What are the things you have, the commands or whatever, right? Libraries. That is the info command. Okay, we did this. Okay, so I hope you are all familiar with this. You all should be by now, right? ls. Then just typing ls, you don't see the these permissions and so on. So you have to type ls minus l, and there are various other options of ls as well, right? Then make mkdir minus p will make any folder which is not there in the path, right? It will create all the folders if all are not there, right? Then move, to move or rename. Then the pipe sign, find, it will find whatever in the folder structure we give, right? And we can give a name, it will find that file name. Yeah, we will test with the file name. Okay, so CLR is to clear the clear. In Windows, it's CLS. Right, so find the root. We'll use like this. No. And that's okay. Now we're in the root, right? Think option. It's an option. Okay, there seems to be a lot of options here. Okay, names there. Yeah. Okay, it found the file. So it shows the file, which is in OS boxes folder, right? So I'm currently in the home folder. If I go to the root folder, it will, yeah, actually what the output is showing is the permission denied, right? Because in the root folder, I don't have permission. I'm as a normal user, so I don't have permission to go through some folders and files. So that is what I get as the output. Okay, so we did all this. RM touch, ARA switch. Right, so there are some other editors as well. Here we have Emacs. I think this is a GUI one. Pico, yeah, that's like Nano. It's a small editor. VI is the one which is the powerful one, right? We can do search and replace anything. Anything you can do with VI. Gedit is the graphical tool, like Notepad. Right. Tail. This tail command is used to look at the last 10 lines of a file. That means, let's say the file is, let's say a log file or, error file or something, which has, let's say 100 lines or 1000 lines. So because usually logs are written to the file when a program runs, right? So any errors or whatever will be written to the log, and usually they are quite large. It contains a lot of lines. So, if you open the file, you have to browse and go down to the very bottom. If you have like 1000 lines or something, it will take some time. So if we use this command, we can see the last few lines which we need of the file, right? Here, so yeah, last 10 lines means tail minus, it should be 10, right? Then the file name. Head, look at the first 10. Yeah. So if you type head, then it will only show the first, we can give the value, first those number of lines in a file. The problem comes when it is a large file, right? We have maybe hundreds of lines in that file. Then when you open also, it will be slow and it will take time and so on, right? So by using these commands, you can filter and get the front or the end of the file, the beginning or end of the file, so that it will be much quicker, right? Let's see if I can. Okay, log files. Var log. Right. So here are some log files. Let's see the size. Yeah, you see that some files right, by using h minus h, you can convert to a readable form. Did you see the size of the file? Earlier it showed in bytes. Now it is shown in kilobytes. Right. So using the minus h command, you can view it in a human readable form. It's easy to, rather than looking at the bytes, right? So let's see, according to this, yeah, this syslog is a bit larger, right? Like 400 something kilobytes. And kernel log is also 500 something. Okay, we have a D package log also 900 something kilobytes. Yeah, it's I don't have write permission, so that is why I'm getting the error at the bottom. It's unwritable, right? Now if you now take this, see, it should have a lot of lines. You see, it's very difficult to go to the bottom this way. It will take some time. So that is why. So using this command, yeah, then the file name. I think there's a mistake. Typing mistake. Right. So can you see the last 10 lines of that file? So if I want to check, so usually the errors whatever are logged into those log files. So this dpkg, I think it's a package log which writes when there are errors or when it's successful or whatever, right? Yeah, so you can see this is showing the installation status of some packages. Right, so if I want to know if there were any errors in the last part, so I can do like this. Or if I want to check the first part, so I don't have to open the whole file. So that is the top or start of the file. The dates, if you check, yeah, the top one is older, the bottom few lines are newer, right? So always a log file, it's written appended when you are writing to the same log file, right? Errors or whatever. It is always appended. Appended means it's written at the end of the file, not to the top of the file. So the newest records will be at the end. So usually you use this tail command to see the recent output in the log file, right? Okay. So these other editors, they may be there. Okay, Pico is also there. It looks like it's the same as Nano. Okay. Yeah. Because at the top it says Nano. Right. Then you have these zipping commands. Now, like in Windows, Linux also you can zip, unzip, right? You have gzip files with the g.gs extension. Then you have the tar with the .tar extension. So these are the commands you use to compress or decompress files or folders. Okay, let's see these commands. Okay, so tar. If you want to use this tar to compress or decompress, tar minus zcvf. Then you give the destination or the file name. Then what are the files or folders which you want to add to the zip file, right? Then this is to extract. So it said xvf. So to create a file, it said cvf. Then to extract a file, xvf. right, to uncompress. So let's see those options also. Minus x, sorry, ZCBF input. So we have compressed. So to uncompress, plus 5. Okay, give me a minute. I tried to unzip to the T folder. ZXVF. So C is to create, X is to extract, so I'm checking the other options. Okay, he said this to use gzip. Yeah, I will do like this. I will copy h.zip file to T. Right, I will extract it here. Okay, now I have extracted it. Right, to view the contents of a file, you can use the cat command. See, it shows the contents then and there, right? You don't have to open the editor. You can use the cat command. Okay, so that is compressing and uncompressing. Yeah, so you can try that and see, right? Right, so cat is to view a file. So you type cat and then the name. It will list the contents of the file. So don't use this on binaries and things like that, right? So this is for text files. Right, and you have Yeah, you have a command to compare also. CMP. Yeah, so if I want to go up one directory, then cd double dot. Right. So compare. Yeah, so see now it shows what is the difference. It differs by 1 byte and 1 line. So it compares and gives the output like that. Cut, remove sections from each line of files. Yeah, so you can remove sections from the lines by using the cut command. Difference shows the difference between the files. Okay, let's try that and see. Okay, so these two files are completely different. So all the lines will be shown here, right? If some are similar, then they will be omitted. Okay, let's open the files. So I will put a line in each of these files which are the same. Right. So you see the similar lines will not be shown. Right. So if I make a change here, that line will also be shown. Right. So that is shows the difference of the lines of the file. Echo is to just display a line of text. So just type echo something and echo hello whatever. It just echoes to the output, right? And no, there is a way to get environment variables in this also. I can't remember. Anyway, so echo will just echo whatever you type. In Windows also, that echo is there, right? See, so whatever you echo, now you can. These are environment variables, so you can do like this. Echo. Okay, that may not be the proper one. Right. So anyway, that's the echo command, right? Then you have this grep where you filter the output that you give a pattern in the grep command, right? So it will show in the output what are the lines which contain that filter, whatever put there, right? Right. So here, if you put grep like this, you put double quotation, and there is a space in the front and the end. So it will search for the R with a space both sides, right? Right. Then sleep, it will delay the process for some number of seconds, right? So you give like 5 seconds, it will sleep 5 seconds. It will delay the process, right? Then sort will file the order of the files alphabetically. Unique removes duplicate lines from a sorted file. So that will remove any duplicate lines. And WC we used earlier, that is used to count. You can count lines, words, characters, or whatever. So we have to use the correct argument, right? Okay, so please do this exercise. So create a shell file and then name it AA in a home directory, right? Then execute the file. So first you have to give execute permission. So if you make any mistakes, correct them. Then use these commands: vi the text editor, then touch to create files, right? Empty files. Grep is to filter. WC is to get the count. Compare is to compare two files. Just create two files, text files, and then compare them using the compare command, right? And then use this chown and chmod to change the permissions of a file or folder. Okay, so any questions on what we did so far? So please make sure that you do this, right? Oh, I cannot see you doing this when I'm
Okay.
doing the lecture, but so you have to make sure that you do these exercises, right?
Okay, sir.
Right. Any questions? Yeah, I hope you got understood all of it. So by practicing, you can make sure that you understand more and you get the knowledge also, right?
Okay,
Just
sir.
listening will not do much help to you. The more you do it, only you remember it.
Yeah, we practice same, sir.
Right. So yeah, let's go to the next slide. Right. So yeah, so this is what we did using the tar command to compress and uncompress. Yeah, to archive or distribute files. So yeah, can contain multiple files and directories. So using the tar command, if you are going if you are going to zip a lot of files, then it's easier to put it in a folder. Then you can just compress the whole folder. You can compress separate files as well, but then you will have to type the names of each file when you are creating the zip file. Okay, so the file permissions can be preserved. So this is as in Windows, right? So any permissions of the file, they can be kept as it is when you zip the files. In Windows also, that those options are there. So there's a special option for keeping the file permissions as it is. Then when you extract the same permission when you created the original file, the same permissions of the original files will be applied to the extracted files also. So there are various options available in the command. Yeah, it supports multiple compression formats. So .tar, .gs, .zip, those formats are supported from this tar command. Yeah, and tar, it stands for tape archiver, right? Yeah, so it's used to backup servers, desktops, document archiving, software distribution. You might have seen this. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so we will stop for the day as I have to attend to something urgent. So if you have any questions regarding what we did today, you can ask next time, right? So I hope you understood. So I will share this slide with you. Please, by next time, it's better if you can, do those, type those commands and check and right. Then you can ask me any question that you come up, right?
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So then we will wind up for the day. Uh, Thank you for attending the lecture, and I hope you have all put in the chat, right, your names. Okay, then have a great week and stay safe.